Hey everyone, it's Letitia with Barefoot Gardening. I hope that you're doing well. So let me just say that I kind of had a little freak out moment. And I know they're okay, but the soil in these buckets it was just too dry. Too dry. And I have to remember, Letitia, when worms are shipped, they're in drier soil than that, okay? But this one was really dry, and so I'm trying to help the bucket recover. The worms are fine. I do not see any dead worms or anything like that. I just want to, maybe, I'm sorry guys, maybe the people that are starting beginner worm farmers, for whatever reason, you may be trying to farm commercially. You may be just, want some worm castings and some really cool worms to hang out with you, especially during the winter time. Whatever it is, it's cool. It's just, you have those moments when you're new or when you're trying to figure things out that you just forget that, plant life, soil life, all this stuff, they're designed to do what they're designed to do. And we have to remember that we're not in control of all things. And we have to be okay with that. Not just remember it, but like really internalize that. And so, immediately I was like, oh crap, these worms are just going to be dead because my buckets are way too dry. The temperature is almost 80 degrees in this room. I left the heater. I usually just turn the heater on at night, but I left it on a couple of days. I'm getting over the flu. And so there's just, you just forget and you don't feel well. And even if you do feel well, you forget you know, and so then you try to correct your problem. And you might, with all the anxiety and the energy that comes with that, like just freaking out that things are not going to be as well as you would like for them to be. But what I found out was that these little creatures are so resilient. And the soil was way too dry, you all. And by too dry, I mean too dry. Like, I could tell because I had cardboard laid on top where the most wettest area was, but it was not. It was just dark. I don't think it was wet. It was just dark. So there was a little bit of moisture, but when I tell you, if you have a moisture meter and your moisture level is 3 with these worm bins, that's a problem. Okay, so anyway, but they are moving, they are doing well, and so that was just really good to see. I'm like, come on babies, just move for me, and they are. There's this one right here is so tiny. These are red wigglers, so tiny. And there are not a lot of red wigglers or a lot of worms in these bins because I was of the impression there's a rule out there that says that the less worms you have in a bin, the more that they will reproduce, because to them they're not populated, and so they regulate their population basically. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get this bulk worm order and put just 50 to 100 worms in each bucket and see what happens. Well, I don't think that's enough, if I could be honest. I just got an order of 1,000 European night crawlers, and I put all of them together, not in this bucket, but I put all of them together in the urban worm bag, and I do have videos on that if you haven't watched those yet. But and they are already mating, and making little cocoons. But these aren't. I haven't seen one cocoon, and these have been in here longer than I've had the worm bag. And so I don't know. I think yes, they'll regulate their population, but I think it takes them longer to find each other. And so I was hoping that because these are red wrigglers, all of the worms that I have can compost. The European night crawlers, African night crawlers, and red wigglers. They can all compost. But what I am finding out is that they really do love communal spaces. Like, they like to be together. They like to get all entangled. And in food time is that time where they can really do that, you know. And so feeding on top helps with that. I've also this is the first couple for the past couple of days I've had apples and bananas in each of these bins, and I freaked out because I got mites, and these little white mites are normal. But I was like freaking out and taking all the bananas out, you know, because it was only bananas. I didn't see much on the apple. And I was like, Letitia, calm down. This is what it's supposed to be like. It's okay. The mites are not harmless. It just looks weird. At first you think they're just little white specks in the soil, but then they move. And you're like, oh crap, you know. So I was freaking out about that. And when I knew it was going to come or could be a possibility because I've done my research, you know. But anyway, don't freak out. Or do it for like 30 seconds and then get your brain back to you, you know. And just remember to move on and on, upward and onward. You got this. And so anyway, I'm taking the bananas, and I'm going to show you this banana, because I did take the bananas out of all the other containers except the red wigglers. I'm going to leave them in there. And I just want to kind of not get overwhelmed with having to redo a bunch of bins, because these suckers are becoming way too much. But this is what they look like. And honestly, I think these aren't even, yeah, they're moving, but that's what they look like. And so, but they're not on the apple. So I don't know what that's about. Maybe because the skin hasn't broke yet on these apples. But they are all over the banana. Okay. And they just appear out of nowhere. I'm just like, this was peat moss. It wasn't soil that I bought in from the outside. The leaves that are in here were all washed. So they just appear out of nowhere, it feels like. So I'm going to do some research on those and see where they come from. But it's apparently very, very natural and normal. You can get overwhelmed with them at times, so I'm just going to keep an eye out on them or with them. But they are supposed to be there because you set up perfect conditions for them. So, but yeah, I haven't used diatomaceous earth in my bins yet. But I am thinking about going ahead and doing that. And that may not prevent these, but it is a good practice just to go ahead and do those, apparently, is what I'm learning. So I'm going to get some of that and put in there as well. But, and this is how I do it. I'm ready to put these back in. So I was just watering the soil down, moistening it up, and then I bury it significantly in there, just like that. And then I'm going to make a place for the banana. I'll put that back in here. Okay. With all the little worm mites, or little mites. It's fine. Okay. And I'm going to cover it back up. And then I am going to feed. If you just give me 1 second, I'm going to put some worm chow on top as well. Okay, so here's the worm chow. And I bought this online. I did not make it myself. I'm not there yet. Nor do I have the tools to do that. So, just like that. And I don't know if you have to do this, but I just saw other people doing it. So I was like, I'm good at mimicking until I learn a way that I like on my own. But I'm just going to wet it down just a little bit. And then this was some cardboard. And I'm going to just put those on the side. That was already in the bin. Paper towel that went on top. And this is wet, and it dries out because, it's right on top. But I'm going to give it a little spritz. as well. Just so the worms are like, yeah, I feel good under there. People do this all kinds of different ways. This is just the way I do it. I'm using what I got, you know. So, but that's it. I thought I would share the little moment that I had, but I also hope that it helped someone. And you know, and I don't know. I'm willing to show you all my mistakes and all of my victories too, because I really believe that there's going to be a lot of those. So the worms are alive, which is, you know, fantastic. But whew, I had a little freak out moment. So thank y'all for walking through that with me. Till next time, thank you all so much. And if you're new to the channel, I'm so excited you're here. Please subscribe and follow. And I will talk to you all soon. Peace.